Thank you, Henry.
Hello and welcome to the Catch Lift Coaches Corner. I'm Cal head coach Melissa Luke, and this week I'm honored to welcome retired U.S. Air Force veteran Kenny Walker to today's show. Kenny is a U.S. Air Force veteran, recipient of 2 Purple Hearts, Cal veteran athlete. Welcome to this week's episode of the Coaches Corner. Kenny, welcome.
Hi,
Thank you for being here with us.
Absolutely. Pleasure. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited to talk to you. We've got a lot of great stuff to cover today. Let's jump right in, Kenny, and kind of talk about that military service of yours. When did you enlist in the military?
I enlisted May of 1998.
And what kind of drove that? Did you come from, family history, or why the military?
My grandfather was in the Army. The grandfather before him was a Marine. My uncle was in the Army. And they basically, talking to them, both said I should pick the Air Force. So I did.
You listened to them.
That was the thing I can say. Yeah, I listened.
That's awesome. So Kenny, you had, to me, a very interesting job, in the Air Force. Can you kind of talk to us about that and what it was?
I was a liaison for aircraft pilots to the ground commander on the ground during combat. I was called a TAC-P, and I basically brought air assets to the battle whenever we were in a firefight. So pretty much just dropping bombs wherever the bad guys were, communicating with the ground commander so I wouldn't hit any of our guys with the bomb. So I was talking to the Army in my right ear, talking to aircraft in my left ear, and then engaging the enemy with my own rifle. So it's pretty much a task saturated type job.
Right.
Yeah, not a lot of people know that there's this type of job in the Air Force that is on the ground in the fight. So I would say there's maybe less than 1,000 of us around the
No
world.
kidding. That's incredible. So Kenny, how did that, and we'll get to a little bit, we're going to talk about your deployments, but how did it work? Were you embedded's the wrong word, I'm sure, but were you almost like embedded like with troops, or were you with an air unit, or like when you would deploy, like how were you tasked out?
I was tasked with the Army,
Okay.
whoever that Army unit, Special Forces, Army Rangers, infantry, airborne, wherever they went, I was one of them.
Okay. That's incredible. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Um, how did you end up doing that job, Kenny? Like, did you enlist with that? When you went the Force route, was that kind of an intention to end up in that position, or how did that happen?
I actually had a guaranteed job in the Air Force, um, working bomb runs, plotting bomb runs for the B-1 bomber. And the TAC-P NCO came into basic training and just told everybody about it, and I switched.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Um, Kenny, you deployed 7 times over, I believe you said, like a 9-year span.
Yeah, from 2001 to 2011.
Can you talk to us a little bit about those deployments, some of the places you went, what that kind of looked like for you, Kenny?
All of them were Afghanistan. I had an opportunity to go to Iraq, but the unit that I would prefer work with, not saying that any army is bad or
Yeah.
whatever, was
Right.
I had already established rapport with the one going back to Afghanistan, and I had already worked with them. So I went ahead and stayed with them. I had trained with the Army going to Afghanistan, and I'd done several things with them previous. So I went ahead and stayed with them. But I did have an opportunity to go to Iraq, but I chose not to. But each deployment was different. You know, sometime I was out in the field. Sometimes I was at FOBs, forward operating bases. I was in the Korengal for about 4 months, working FOB blessing, anything along the Pesh River Valley, Chapadar district. 2009 was I want to say my family here at home call it my Vietnam, because that one was the pretty intense deployment. '09 was probably my worst out of all of them. Not, I don't want to say it was kinetic. It was just what I suffer from, PTSD, and I have issues with the '09 deployment.
And, Kenny, like you said, each one was so very different, each deployment. Would you mind kind of taking us through, though, like a day on one of your deployments, or like, if you could kind of pick a day, like what was it like, just what did that look like for you in a day?
It would be, usually I go out with aircraft, so they would infill with us on a convoy. We would probably pick a small village and go meet with the village elders. I would keep my aircraft out of audible, meaning 25, 50 miles away, but I would still communicate with my aircraft.
Okay.
And I'd have Kiowas or Apaches, helicopters, on standby, waiting. And we'd meet the village elder. You'd kind of fill out your environment based
Okay.
on the looks you're giving, or the looks you're receiving from the village. Who's on their cell phone, who's talking to who,
Right.
and and it's usually the exfil from the meeting is when things are heightened, and majority of the time that's when we would take contact, and is on our exfil. When you see everybody scattering and
Yeah.
within seconds nobody around, it's going to be a fun day after that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can't even imagine that.
But it was like it was almost like you expected it. And you could even ask the village elder, hey, am I going to make it out of here safe? What's going to go on? And they're usually, majority of the time, we're pretty honest. Like, you should go now, or I can't guarantee your safety. They could guarantee our safety coming in, but
Okay.
we can't guarantee coming out.
That's really interesting. So again, trust is probably not the right word here, but did you feel
Well,
pretty confident in like that, like the village elder said, it's come today, like, you've got a time and place. Like, did you feel pretty confident about that when you'd have those meetings set?
I mean, we're there. I don't mean to get into the political aspect. We're there to win hearts. I
Yep.
get it. We're there to provide, security and safety and everything for the village. But we were prepared for battle, period. We prepared the entire time, and we expected a fight, either going in or out. So we already told the village elder, we know we're going to get in a fight, but we'll still come out and see you. We
Okay.
want to let you know we want to protect you. We want to show you that we don't care that we're going to get into a fight, but we still want to come out there and provide whatever you need.
Right. That's really interesting. Um, so Kenny,
Now,
you
this
just
this is all just my opinion. This isn't based on
oh,
uh,
absolutely.
what
Yeah.
from it.
So, you've described to us, kind of like Army in one ear, Air Force in the other.
Exactly.
There's a lot going on. You're taking information, from multiple places all at once. Uh, Kenny, would you talk to us a little bit about staying calm under pressure? Because I can only imagine the amount of pressure you would have been on, under having a job like that, and you're taking, all these different voices and different ears and all of this going on.
You know, that's funny you say that, because I was just thinking about one of the missions I was on. I was in a village. I was standing like a security element for my ground commander, and the actual pilot that was about 35 miles out starts talking to me about football, like no joke, about
Yeah.
football. And it was the NFL draft.
Oh,
And
jeez.
he like talking to me about who's coming up, who do you like this, what do you think of this guy? And so we started talking about football. And one of the helo pilots, an Apache pilot, was a previous Army Ranger who had got his warrant officer and started flying Apaches. Well, he chimed in and he started talking about guys coming up through the college ranks. And then
Oh
the
my
other
God.
female, there was a female pilot who started giving those two guys crap about what they thought. It was funny. So we were basically, their bickering and their conversation, actually, I was doing my job, but it was kind of comical because of, I'm actually on the ground
My
and they're all,
gosh.
you know, mentally pulled me out of that aspect of
Yeah,
work.
that's
And
interesting. Oh my
I
gosh.
hadn't, I get to call my bride, you know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, I might get a phone call, or whenever we have an opportunity to give a phone call. But some of these guys haven't heard from their significant other, or been able to call their mom or grandma or anything. I had a pilot, a two ship that was 4 aircraft, and all 4 aircraft were female pilots. And I put their voices on the loudspeaker. Our MRAP had a speaker system that you could hear on the outside of the vehicle. You could play music or whatever. Well, I transmitted their voices so that all the dudes on the ground could hear them, and they just stopped. Like,
My
those are
gosh.
chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're flying. Oh, that's amazing. It's kind
Yeah.
of like, again, bringing them home from the battlefield. Even music was the same way. Some dudes didn't even have music, and they'd been out there for 6, 7 months.
Oof.
But
Yeah,
it-
that's really something.
the Air Force did it. I did it.
So Kenny, this whole time, again, 7 deployments, 9-ish years, you're married, you have a young family back at home. Could you talk to us a little bit about that experience, or kind of the toll that takes on a family and a service member, and how you push through that?
Not that I meant to do it, but I married a Marine, so she knew the call of duty. She knew she knew what she was marrying when she got involved. She's an amazing woman, and she held the family down. I have 4 kids, and she was actually pregnant on my '09 deployment, and had 3 kids and being pregnant all by herself.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, she never once complained. Um, she never told me anything wrong was at home. She just knew, without telling her, she knew what to say. She knew how to motivate me, and she knew how to keep me going based off of, I only got to talk to her for so many times.
Right.
And that being huge for me, not having to worry about home life.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Take that off the boiling plate. Yeah.
absolutely. And we've been married 17 years now, 4 kids. So we're still going pretty strong. I
That's
like
terrific. Yeah. Oh
her.
my gosh.
I
That's
adore her.
terrific.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you
Tell
for
you
sharing that
that.
with us, Kenny.
Yeah, I did want to bring up something. When some times were tough, and I'm either rucking or I'm out on a mission. I've been up for a few days. I start thinking of things that happened at home. So my oldest son, Caden, got his foot stuck in a peanut butter jar as a little kid, and I would use that. I would tell other people around me, and they just thought it was the funniest thing. So you use your family to even get through
Yeah.
hard times.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true, right? You certainly
Yeah.
do. Kenny, would you talk to us a little bit about, being awarded the 2 Purple Hearts and being awarded a Bronze Star with Valor? Um, kind of what that means to you and your family. And, I know probably different things, the Purple Hearts, obviously, to the Bronze Star, but we talk a little bit about those awards with us.
Yeah, the actual Bronze Star with Valor and the first Purple Heart were both together on one mission. Then that was the actual mission I was talking to you about with the football, but the pilots.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we were actually exfilling the village elder meeting and started taking contact on the north side of a bridge that connected the village. And as we were crossing, the bad guys split our unit up with gunfire. So half of us was on one side and the other half was split on the other side. And I was with John Robertson. He was a JTAC at the time. And our ground commander was split on the opposite side of the bridge. So we decided, would we run over to him? And as we were thinking we're going to go run to him, he started running to us. So I jumped out on the bridge and started taking fire so he wouldn't get hit. And I was exchanging gunfire. And I could feel the warmth of bullets passing by me as he's running. And I just started engaging, got him across. And it was about a 7-hour firefight. I won't go over the entire mission, but when we got together all on one side, um, I'm at the end of a wall, just engaging enemy as they're coming up, and I'm relaying the info to John, who's controlling the F-15s. I was controlling the Apaches and the Kiowas and telling John where to drop the bombs. Are you familiar with a Dishka?
No, I'm not.
A Dishka is a huge machine gun that they use to shoot down aircraft.
Okay.
So you can imagine the size of the bullet. But the bad guy had turned the Dishka on us and was shooting at us
Oof.
into the village, and we needed to take that out really quick. So I relayed the message. I grabbed some coordinates and told John, and John dropped the bomb and wiped out the Dishka. As I'm doing that, 2 guys to my right, and I'm sticking out from the wall, jumped up and shot an RPG and hit the wall that I was standing next to, and it blew me across the street. Knocked my helmet off. It knocked my ruck off, my radio. Definitely knocked me out. And John
Yeah.
pulled me back into cover. And now this part is where I was told what happened. So what you're hearing from me is what I was told. I don't
Okay.
remember it. John just checked me out, and I was bleeding. My helmet blew off, so I was bleeding in the face and the head, and I had taken shrapnel to the face. He asked if I was good. I mean, we're still under fire, so I guess I got up and put the weapon in my left hand and engaged those 2 guys in the riverbed, and I took those 2 out. And then we were all able to cross the bridge after that. So that's where the Purple Heart came into, is taking the shrapnel and the RPG against the wall. Uh, when I made it across the bridge, Kiowa pilot was trying, actually an A-10 came in because one of our F-15 ships had to take off, so we had a A-10 come in. John was trying to get the A-10 pilot's eyes on a target, and I wanted to use the Kiowa to mark the actually Apache used the rockets to mark the target for the A-10, but they couldn't see what I was talking about. There was a cave,
Okay.
and you got to imagine they're up above looking down. Well, I'm parallel to the ground, and I can see the target, so I have to describe to them,
Oh my gosh.
not mine, but their point of view, and get their eyes on the target. So I jumped on a 240. It's a machine gun. It shoots 7.62 rounds. It was an Army dude shooting it, and I said, "Hey, I need this." So I gave him my N4, and I took his gun, and I started shooting my target. The Apache saw where I was shooting, marked it with rockets, and then the A-10 was able to drop a bomb into the cave. And then later, bunch of firefighting went on, and I eventually jumped in on I can't think of the name right now, but it's a grenade launcher on the top of an MRAP. And I used that to mark a target as well. It threw grenades. Can't think of the name right now. Cho 3? No, I don't remember. But so that was pretty much the 7-hour firefight. There was a lot more to that.
Yeah.
I could go on, but my radio actually got shot. Yeah, but
Wow.
yeah, it is. That was the Bronze Star with Valor, and one of the Purple Hearts was in 09.
Kenny, it first of all, thank you for your service, to our country and for, all those years. And thank you to your great family, your wife for supporting, through that and, continuing to. What was that like for you when it came time to transition out of the military and get back into a civilian life? You deployed 7 times in 9 years. What was that like suddenly to go out into the civilian world?
I was angry because my 2011 deployment, I got hit by grenades, which retired me, and I had a pretty bad traumatic brain injury, brain bleed, severed nerves, brain swelling. It looked like I had a stroke. My entire face was swollen. So for me, I wasn't ready to let go, but the Air Force,
Yeah.
said I needed to go. So when they retired me, I was pretty angry. So the transition from a military career to a retired combat vet was pretty tough.
Yeah.
Anger, I mean, you name it, I had it all. And my wife still stuck through. The kids stuck with me. They believed in me. They knew that there was a good dad in there. And I've been struggling, and I fight daily and go to therapy and go to the gym, meet people like you, and just keep pushing.
Yeah, absolutely. What were some of the things or what have been some of the things, Kenny, that, have helped you push through this transition time and, what's kind of helped you? What's you know, what do you turn to?
Um, in the beginning, it was I needed to get right mentally before I could do physically. There was a lot of surgeries involved physically, so there wasn't really a lot I could do physically.
Right.
So I knew it was a long road ahead. I did a hyperbaric chamber for over a year and a half.
Wow.
I did therapy 5 days a week for like 14 months straight. Um, and I was in a good spot mentally, and then I started working on physically. And then surgeries would pop up, and hip was replaced, shoulder replaced. I had the right femur head of my right hip replaced, titanium pelvis, broken collarbone, and this all popped up later. I had the pain receptors in the body, I guess, weren't firing, so
Oh,
I couldn't
wow.
feel any pain,
Oh my gosh.
but my body is screaming.
Right.
I mean, everyone's thinking that's ideal. I want that, but no, I was just jacking up other stuff.
Yeah.
So after surgeries and stuff, I started thinking about I need to get back into the gym. I was a triathlete while I was in the Air Force, swimming, running, biking all the time, weightlifting, everything, jujitsu, you name it. So I had started at a CrossFit gym. I was actually in a wheelchair, and you know, met with a few people. I saw Catch a Lift flag on the wall and started asking questions. And um, when I had called Catch a Lift, it was they were so friendly and so excited that I had learned about them that they wanted to help immensely. So it was a really easy transition, and I was already nervous enough. And going into the gym, it was almost like if it wasn't for them making it, as it wasn't for Catch a Lift making it so easy for me, I don't think I would have stayed at that gym. I don't think I would have stayed working out. But again, so it was mentally first, and then it was physically later, and that's basically what I needed to do.
That's so awesome. I think that's really important what you said. You took this time and, really did that work that you needed to do mentally, and through that time, different physical, recoveries were happening, before you really move back into that physical space. And that's absolutely
Yeah,
terrific. You were able to find Catch a Lift, and at that time too. That's just wonderful.
yeah. It was the same day I joined the gym,
No kid, the
and
same day. Oh my gosh.
same because the CrossFit instructor was an Army Ranger,
Okay.
and he asked me if I heard of Catch Lift. And I was like, I'm actually new to the Wounded Warrior thing. Period. I
Right.
just got out of surgery, and I just moved here from Washington State, and he's like, give him a call, and sky's the limit, man. You guys were awesome. What was
That's
that,
so
like
cool.
7?
Yeah, I think when we looked, it was around there. Yeah.
Wow, I've been with you for
It's
a while.
it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just so awesome. So awesome. Um, Kenny, I know your family is a big part, of, well, they're very into a fitness lifestyle themselves, and for all of you, that's a very big deal. Um, but how has fitness allowed you to kind of catch up on what you've missed in, your family's life through those years when you were deployed and not at home?
I was actually able to set goals now where I'd get to a certain point, and I'm like, this is either too heavy or this hurts. Let's try something different.
Yeah.
So I actually left CrossFit and pursued powerlifting. And went in and set some goals. I told my trainer, Garrett, he is with Strength Built Athletics here in New Braunfels. And we kind of set some goals, and I told him what I wanted to bench and deadlift. And we haven't done anything for squatting. I think my first squat since June was uh, last week at 195, and I was sore for like 9 days.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for me to squat anyway. I mean,
Right.
everything's metal. But so I set a goal and with Garrett, pretty much let's work hard on a deadlift. It's the only lift that really doesn't hurt. And I did a 455 in September. We used that number to set, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I know 500 is in my future. Let's try it. So we set the goal for 500, and that was last Monday.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And the reason I picked that date actually is because when you and I were talking, we were going to do this podcast. I thought, well, let's pick a date before the podcast. Hopefully,
Yeah.
by the podcast here, I can have the pool. Yeah. So I pulled it.
Talk to us about that 500 pull, Kenny. That's just absolutely phenomenal.
Let me tell you, if you've seen the video, you know that I've used every bit of muscle I had. I was twerking, lifting that weight, thing was shaking. Yeah, it was crazy. I did before the lift, and I even told my son Kenny and Garrett. I told them I'm not letting go of this bar.
Yeah.
Like I'm coming down. If I don't lift this weight, I'm coming down with the bar. And I started lifting, came off the ground fairly easy. It started to get heavy around mid shin into the knee area. So I started digging, started grinding and pulling the lats, engaging the glutes, and it wasn't moving past the knee. And I hear Garrett and my buddy Jordan yelling at me, hips. And my eyes are closed and I hear hips. So I started to engage the hips towards the bar.
Yeah.
And it came up.
Oof. That is so freaking awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so awesome. And yeah, that gym, let me tell you, if you guys are ever in New Braunfels, you gotta go. This gym's amazing. It's like a family. I mean, everybody says hi to everybody, and you need a spot, somebody's there. You're lifting big PR, and the whole gym stops and watches. It's so awesome.
What's the name of that gym, Kenny?
Strength Built Athletics in New Braunfels, Texas.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What was it like to pull that weight with your son there?
Yeah. He went to pull his 315. We had both trained the same amount of days, the same amount of weeks, and he had a goal of what was his goal was 265. Well, 2 weeks prior to his pull, which was the same day as mine, he had 4 sets of 2 at 265. And I'm like, son, you're double pulling the weight you wanted to PR.
Yeah.
You got to set a new PR, man. So we set 315, and for him, he's 15, and he went to pull it, and it didn't come up. But he said to me, failing that day, I'm gonna get choked up. But failing that day was awesome because I saw you pull 500 with as much diversity and stepping stones and things that I've been through emotionally and mentally. He said when I saw you pull that 500, he said to him, "There's nothing I can't do."
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh,
So
that's good stuff, Kenny.
yeah, pulling 500 with him was awesome.
Yeah. Going into that day to pull that weight, Kenny, how were you feeling that morning? Kind of what was going through your head?
I was texting Garrett all weekend, dude. I'm nervous as hell. I mean, he obviously stayed positive, but
Yeah.
still, I was nervous. And the reason I was so nervous is I had tried I put 500 on the bar in November and didn't get it off the ground. So I was already mentally beating myself up.
Right.
I felt 500 before, and I kept thinking, what do I got to do to get this? And so I took a week off prior to the lift. Garrett told me to keep the carbs up, the protein up, plenty of rest. Don't mess around. This is serious, So I had to get my head in the game, and
Yep.
I took about 4 days. Told my bride, "Hey, I'm pulling this on Monday, so I'm just gonna watch football."
Yeah.
So she put the chores aside and let me veg for a while, and I was able to make the pull.
Oh my gosh. Congratulations. Seriously, that is just so cool. I was so excited when I saw that video.
Yeah.
We all were. I mean, just
Well,
absolutely
we've
outstanding.
been talking since, geez, my 455. We've all been talking about it since September. So it was like, and I've been texting Rachel almost every Monday with the new pull that I did, working out at
Yep.
440 or 20, pulling 460 for 2. So she and I have been talking a lot too.
Yeah.
She's been a big inspiration for me.
So talk to us a little bit about that, Kenny, just like that, like the relationship you've been able to build with Cal's gym coordinator, Rachel Forbes. Like, what does that mean to you in your life to have, you've got Cal standing behind you, you've got Rachel there. What does that mean?
It's just been amazing, the people that are out there, and the rapport that I've gotten. The support has been huge. So connecting with Catch Lift, I love you guys. I don't know how to say it any differently. It's not just an entity that will find you gym equipment or pay for a membership. It's like we're buddies. We're on each other's side, where we can talk daily. Um, there's no professional aspect where you can't cuss a little and
Yeah.
be real.
Right. Yep.
Can't express how I feel, and you got to do it a professional way.
Right.
No, it's all down to earth. It's human. It's human contact. It's yeah, go for it. It's kick ass. So it's just been amazing.
That's absolutely terrific. That's absolutely terrific. Kenny, I'm going to have one more Catch a Lift question for you that we'll finish up
Yep.
with in just a minute. But before then, I do have a question from one of our viewers, Joe D. So Joe asks, do you think that your wife helped your reintegration into civilian life and help you with that transition out of the military?
She did it very gently, because she knew me leaving my job, not just the Air Force, but my job, was huge. So, very supportive woman. But at the same time, she would say, pick your head up. You're a soldier. Let's press on. Now let's go find something in your civilian world that you can fight for. You know what I mean? Let's go find that goal. Like, hey, why don't we go pull 500 pounds and not worry about the Air Force right now? That's what she did. She gave me other goals to look forward to. She gave me other opportunities to look for. I haven't missed an anniversary and a birthday and a Christmas since I've been retired, and I didn't know that. I would be home for 6 months training for my deployment for 6 months. She never once complained. So when she says something like, pick your head up, I love you, but you're being a baby right now, press on. I listen.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's been huge. Good question.
That's absolutely absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I don't even have the words. I think, all of us can really attest that you need someone in your life like that, right? That believes in you, that loves you, but also will say, okay, let's go now, be proud, pick your head up. And that's wonderful. Kenny, what's your wife's name?
Sarissa,
Well, we thank her very much.
my bride, Sarissa Walker.
We thank her very much. Kenny, I've got one last question here I want to finish up with for you today. What does it
Okay.
mean to you to be a Catch a Lift Fund veteran athlete?
Honored. I have spoke with Lynn and read her son's story. I even met with one of her son's buddies on his deployment, and I'm just honored. It's just been amazing. I love what you guys are doing for the wounded people. I love the opportunities that you've provided, and the customer service and the love. It's just been amazing. Um, Actually, I don't know what I don't think I would be working out actually if it wasn't for you guys. You always checking in on me, whether it's Lynn or Rachel. Always, how's it going? What are your goals? What's going on? So you don't get that from like other entities. I'm not going to name them,
Right.
but
Yeah.
you just
Yep.
you just don't get that. Um, so whenever I'm meeting other people in the community, and they ask where I train, where I work out, and I tell them. But then I also mention, Catch a Lift, and I've done fundraiser for you guys, and your entity sells itself. People just want to be a part of it. Some people don't even know how to share. Some people
Yeah.
don't know how to provide. So when you bring this community, Catch a Lift, to the gym, the gym members are like, I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah. Right.
So it gives you the opportunity of being inspired. So I'm grateful to be a part of Catch a Lift. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I certainly don't believe I would be, where I am in fitness at all if it wasn't for Catch a Lift, or certainly not in this, capacity, without someone, for years. I've been in the organization now like 5 years. There's constantly been someone there cheering me on, every day of it, or a fellow brother, sister kicking me in the butt. Okay, you had your moment down, but let's go.
Exactly.
Absolutely priceless.
That's what I'm talking about. You just don't get that. I don't know if it's what you guys look for in people, or you tell them to do this. I don't know what it is, but whatever you're doing, it's working, and it's great.
Absolutely. It is great. It is great. I think that's a good place for us to wrap up today, Kenny. Thank you so
Okay.
much again for your service to our great country. Um, just thank you, Kenny. Thank you to your family.
Absolutely.
That's it for this week's episode of Coach's Corner. We will return next Wednesday at 1 Eastern Time with another new episode. We thank you, Kenny, for sharing your story and your light with us today. Thank you to ClearBridge for all of your support of all things Catch a Lift. Thank you to Lynn Coughlin, Henry Pomper, Kaylee Nasiri for your continued support and work that you do to make this podcast possible, and to the entire CAL staff. And if there are any Cal veteran members who are on today with us and would like to jump on and talk with Kenny and I some more, just please leave your name in the chat box and we'll get you guys an email link sent over in just a minute. And until next week, keep it real and stay Cal strong.